group sa atin kung para sa ating magiging presentations. O pagkatapos kasi ng corrosion, ah, corrosion prevention and control. So start na po tayo ng discussions ng mga materials. So start na po yun ng presentation. So nakalimutan ko pong sabihin sa inyo nung pong ano po, nitong bagyuhan, ano po. So hindi ko kayo naklase nung last Thursday. Yan. Pwede, Mr. Ashley, gumawa ka po ng ano po, parang releta para po sa topic.
Uy, ready naman ako. Bumili na lang kanya. Uy, ganda ba yun eh? Ay, dapat madami ka daw kasi.
Sige po. Tapos ano po ako ha, makiki-present po ako ha para makita ng lahat yung magiging topic po nila. Okay? Bali ang topic po natin is ano po, metals. Ferrous metals na lang pong ilagay mo. Tapos ay ceramic, polymers, tapos composite, and then biomaterial, and the last one po is nanomaterial. Yung nilagay ko po dun sa atin pong Google Classroom. Ashley, narinig mo po ba yung sinabi ko? Okay, yan. So for the first group po, ito po yung group 1. Kindly raise your hand po ng ating mga group 1. Makiki-raise po ng hand yung group 1. Did you hear me po? Hello? Nandito po ba ang group 1? Meron na ba kayong groupings for the laboratory? Hello? Anyone po na pwede ko pong makausap? Okay. So, sino po ang group 1? Hindi niyo tanda kung sino po ang group 1? Hindi niyo tanda kung kung anong group niyo po? Anyone po na pwede ko pong makausap? Yes po, Mr. Abni.
Kami ata po ang group 1. Kasi po ang pag-grouping po namin ay parang po, hindi po namin tanda yung kung anong group number po. Basta lang po kami nag-group. Kami na po ang
Okay, so wait for a while ha. Okay, so for the group 1, I have here po the index card. So we have Adonai, Atienza, De La Peña, Generoso, Marasigan, Romasanta, Rosales, and Valencia. So makiki-raise hand naman po. Kindly raise your hand po. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Ashley, Jerome, kindly ano po, spin the po. Makikispin ako. So this is the topic for group 1 po. So for the group 1, you are assigned po for the topic po of metals. Okay? Okay na po? Yan. So metals po yung inyo. So ferrous. So kayo po yung first po na magpe-present din. Okay? Another po. Naka-shuffle ba to? Baka to sunod-sunod ha. Okay. Next po, Group 2, Group 2, Garcia, yan, Tolentino, Panopio, Aguila, Manalo, Dimaano, and Mansano. So for the Group 2, ay, ceramics po. Parang hindi siya nasya-shuffle kasi parang sunod-sunod po yung okay po. Anyway, Group 2 po is for ceramics. Okay. Next one po. For the Group 3, so we have Alvarez, Biscocho, Cardenas, Esguerra, Palagme, Malabanan, and Silodjo. Okay. Okay na po. Makiki-spin na po. For the Group 3, ang topic niyo po is, yan, so naiba naman. Ayan, nanomaterial. So, last po kayo na magpe-present. So, ang last po na magpe-present is the nanomaterial po. So nagte-take down notes po ba kayo? So, first po is group 1 is metal. The second group po is ceramics. And the third group po is nanomaterial. Next po, for the group 4, so we have Adham, Splana, Saging, Marikina, Pasakiyan, Andaya, and Kalapre. Okay. So, makikispin po ako. Okay. So, for the group 4, so we have po biomaterial. So, you are the second to the last po na magpe-present. And then another po, for the group 5, Abelgos, Adame, Banawa, Dimayuga, Dris, Montoya, and Sarsonas. Yan, kindly spin po. And yung matitira po is for the group 6. Okay, so composite. And for the group 6, ang topic nyo po is polymers po. Yan. So for the arrangement of presentation, so the first po is metal. Next po is the ceramics. The third po is the polymers. And then, fourth po is the composite. The fifth po is the biomaterial. And the last one po is the nanomaterial. So, is it clear po? Kindly check our Google Classroom po um, for the topic to be discussed po. So that you have guide po in the presentations of every material. Okay? Okay, so saan po tayo natapos? Last meeting. Saan po tayo natapos? Meron po ba nakakatanda kung saan po tayo natapos last meeting? Did we start po the corrosion prevention and control? Hello, anyone na pwede ko pong makausap? Are we done with this po? Hello? Anyone nakakatanda po? Hello po? Hello? Ano na po? Para alam ko po kung saan po ako mag-start. Uy, kausapin niyo po ako. Hello everyone. Tandaan niyo po kung saan po tayo natapos. Anyone po na nakakatanda? Wala. Oh my God. Mag-start ulit tayo from the start? Uy, I'm waiting for your reply po. Uy, anyone po na pwedeng magsabi sa akin kung saan po tayo natapos. So, mag-start na lang po ako from the start kung wala pong makakapagsabi sa akin. Hello? Naririnig niyo po ba ako? Pero napakita ko na po sa inyo yung video po. Napakita ko na po sa inyo yung mga video. Okay, so start na tayo dito. From uniform attack. Yes po. Okay. So from to last time po, we already have po yung video for the introductions about different types po of corrosion. So the cause of why corrosion occur, or the reason why corrosion occur, and the preventions that we need to do in order to prevent po yung ating corrosions. Okay. So the first type of corrosions is what we call the uniform attack. Yan. So when we say uniform attack, it is a form of ano po, corrosions wherein electrochemical, it occurs po, yan, equivalently intensity over the entire exposed surface. So, all of the surface po, meron tayong scaling or kaya naman po, meron siyang deposit. So, makikita nyo po from this picture, yan. So, from this picture po, you can see that all ano po, the rust, the scaling, so the deposit po is nandito all over po dun sa surface wherein siya po ay na-expose. Okay? Sabi dito, in a microscopic sense, so the oxidations and reductions reaction occur randomly over the surface. So every surface po na-expose dun sa ating mga um, sa mga water o kaya naman po mga acid salt. So, it will ano po, corrode or kapag na-expose po siya in a high temperature, so nagkakaroon siya ng ganito po. So, all over the surface. Yan, yung mga exposed po na surface. Yan. Sabi dito, familiar examples include general rusting of steel and iron and tarnishing of the silverware. So ito po yung example ng what we call the uniform attack. So uniform attack, it is called uniform attack because uniform po on all the surface. So pare-parehas po sila na meron pong kalawang. Ano po? So this is probably the most common form of corrosions. So ito yung madalas natin nakikita po na corrosions. So ganito po yung type ng corrosions. Ito yung madalas na nakikita natin sa metals. Okay? So it also the least objectional because it can be predicted and designed for with relative ease. Yan. So, yung uniform attack po, pwede natin siyang ma-prevent. So, mas madali lang natin siyang mape-prevent po yung pagkakaroon po ng tinatawag natin na uniform attack. Yan. So, ito po yung mga pwede natin gawin in order to prevent the uniform corrosions. So, the first one is we can use po a thicker materials for corrosion allowance. Yan. Just like po the picture na ganito, so they use thicker materials. So meaning they added po the thickness of the materials in order po na kahit may kalawang na siya, ano pa, may corrosions na nag-occur sa kanya, still he can ano po, he can use pa rin dun sa kanyang main purpose. Ano po? So, kaya pa rin niyang gampanan yung purpose niya even though may mga kalawang na siya because we use po a thicker materials. So, we provided po a corrosion allowance. So, if ever po na magkaroon ng corrosion, yung strength of the materials kaya pa niya, kaya pa rin niya na gawin yung kanyang mismong gamit. Ano po? Okay, another one is to use paint. So this is the common prevention and control na ginagawa natin. So we use paint on the surface of the material or we we coated it po. So nagkakaroon tayo ng metallic coating such as flating, galvanizing, or anodizing po. So ito po yung common na ginagawa for coating the metals. So for example po, yan yung mga galvanizing po. So, nag-aano po tayo ng mga sa sink. Yan. So, binababad natin. Tinutubog po natin yung ating materials dito sa mga other metals po wherein they have a high resistance po to corrosions. So, another one is to use corrosion inhibitors. So, meaning po, we modify the environment. So, pinapatagal natin yung pagkokorpo ng corrosions by modifying po the environment. For example, the materials, hindi natin siya in-expose into a humid place or kaya naman matubig or kaya naman in the malapit sa dagat. Kasi kapag malapit sa dagat, so mas mabilis yung kanyang corrosions because of the sea salt, seawater po. Yan. And then, hindi din natin siya in-expose into a high temperature. Okay? And then another po is what we call the cathodic protections and anodic protections. Yan. So ito yung tinatawag natin na sacrificial anode wherein we use another metals po para siya yung ma-oxidize compared po dun sa ating material na ginagamit po. Yan. So, we sacrifice po another materials in order po na hindi mag-occur into a corrosions yung isang material po natin. Yan. Did you understand it po? Hello?
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay. So, this is the video po for the uniform corrosions. And I hope po na marinig nyo po. Naririnig niyo po ba siya?
Wala po, ma'am.
Okay. Tanggalin ko na ulit po ang headset. Pero nakikita niyo po yung presentation.
Yes po.
Okay. As you can see po, dun sa una po nating video, because of the corrosions or oxidation, so yan, parang nauubos na po yung ating mga metals. Ano po, yan. Parang nagiging ganyan na po yung itsura niya. Yan. So ito po yung one of the effect po of the corrosions dun sa ating material.
Hello, my name is Mario and I am a material scientist specialized in nanotechnology. And today's topic is uniform corrosion. Corrosion, as you know, is the greatest problem of mankind because it causes the material's useful properties to change over time. And this is a very expensive problem, costing billions of euros each year. And because there are so many different materials in the world, there are also many forms of corrosion. And every single one of them is affecting your daily life. Uniform corrosion, also known as general corrosion, is basically a process where a material corrodes uniformly.
Yes, so this is the example po of uniform corrosions and ang nangyayari po dito is the oxidation. So, ano po? So, unti-unting nauubos yung ating pong materials.
For example, aging, when the material comes into contact with acids. The first sign of this type of corrosion is the dulling of the freshly polished surface, like these silver coins and jewelry over here. The mechanical properties are not much affected at this stage, But if corrosion is ignored, then it keeps progressing, and eventually the material no longer serves its purpose. As you can see, the sack's head is already quite corroded, but then again it's quite thick, so the mechanical properties have not changed much, and it could still serve its purpose to cleave off a zombie's head. So, how do you prevent uniform corrosion? Well, the most obvious thing is to use materials that are more corrosion resistant in the given environment. The other option is to use protective coatings that prevent the corrosive substances to come into contact with the material. My name is Milo, and you just learned more about uniform corrosion. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and leave your comments below.
Okay. Yan. So that's all po for the ano po uniform corrosion. So ganun po yung uniform corrosion. So kapag sila po ay na-expose sa water, ano po, yan. So pwede siyang mag-occur into corrosions and also sa mga seawater also, and if there is a high temperature, so nag-occur po ang ating corrosions. Okay. So another type of the corrosion is what we call galvanic corrosion. So it is happen when the two dissimilar metals or two metals or alloys so have different compositions. Yan. Sabi dito, and exposed to an electrolyte. So what electrolyte po is the what we call po sea water or high temperature. So if the two materials po is exposed to seawater and high temperature, so galvanic corrosion occurs. So just like this po, yung nasa picture, so we have po the similar metals. Yan. So the one which is more active is the one uh, who corroded first po. Yan. So kung alin po yung mas active, ano po, mas mabilis mag-oxidize. So yun po yung mas nagko-corrode. Okay? So sabi dito, having different compositions or electrically coupled while exposed to an electrolyte. So sabi dito, the less noble or more reactive metals in a particular environment experiences corrosions. Yan. So the more inert metals, the cathode, yan. And then it is protected so from the corrosions. So the one which is more inert, so siya po yung nagiging protected. So same po ito dun sa tinatawag natin na sacrificial anodes. So the one which is reactive, so it is corroded first po. Yan. We have here po a two example that galvanic corrosion occurs. Yan. So for example po, we have the steel screw. Yan. Corrode when in contact with brass in a marine environment. So we have here po the electrolyte. So we have the marine environment, so seawater po. And then another, we have different materials po. We have the steel and the brass. So the one which is more reactive material, ano po, experience corrosions. Okay. So for this po, steel and brass po. So in this steel and brass, so steel po is corroded. Ano po? The one who corrode first po is the steel. Okay? Because steel po is more reactive compared to the brass. Okay? And then another example po, which is the copper and steel. And they are exposed to domestic water heater. So high temperature. So in these conditions po, steel corrode first din po. Yan, the steel corrodes in the vicinity of the junctions. So steel is more reactive compared to the copper. Yan, you can see it po. Uh, who corrode first by using po the galvanic series. Yan. So this po is the galvanic series. As you can see po, so the yung pataas natin, so the increasing yan. So this one, yan. So this is the ano po, the arrowhead. So the one po, yan. This is the increasing inert while this one increasingly active. Okay? So this one is the more inert and this one is the more active po, material. So the first example po is between the steel and the brass. Ano po? Steel and brass po. Yan. As you can see in this table, yan. So you can see po that steel po is more active compared to the brass. That is why po the corrosion occur po at the steel. Yan, did you get it po? May kutsara ka. Walang panghugas na walang brush. Walang disposable. Did you get it po?
Yes po, ma'am.
And then another example po, so we have the steel po and copper. So steel and copper, so we have here po steel and then this one po is copper. Yan. So so steel po corroded. Ano po? Because steel po is more active compared to the copper. Okay? Yan. So ganyan po yung nangyayari. So the more reactive material is the one who corroded po. Okay? And then we can prevent po the galvanic corrosions by using po this uh, mga methods na to. So the first one is to select metals and alloys as close together as possible in the galvanic series. Yan. So kapag kasi siya ay magkalayo, yan, kapag magkalayo, just like copper and steel, so medyo magkalayo po sila. So doon po nag-occur po yung tinatawag natin na galvanic corrosions. So that is why ang um, ang gagawin natin is to choose the materials na pwede po nating medyo malapit lang po dun sa galvanic series. And sabi dito, select metals or alloys as close together as possible in the galvanic series. So, yung magkakatabi lang po. For example, cast iron and steel. Yan. So, medyo hindi po siya prone into a galvanic series kapag medyo magkatabi lang po sila. Yan. If Yan. And then, we have here po, yan, 316 and 304. So, we can use Inconel, nickel. Tapos ito, meron tayo dyan na mga bracket. So, yun yung mga pwede po natin na pagsamahin po. Okay? Or pag in contact po yung ating mga material. Another one po is avoid unfavorable area effect of small anode and large cathode. Yan. So, depende po sa area of contact po. Yan. Yan. So, mas maganda po if ang ating material po ay same lang po yung kanyang area. Another one is if we cannot, ano po, hindi natin maiwasan, to use po, we cannot prevent to use po the different material. So, we need to use po uninsulating materials in order for the two materials to be not in contact. Ano po? So, para hindi sila magkaroon ng in contact yung dalawang material, so gumagamit po tayo ng mga insulating material. So, lalagyan natin ng pagitan. Ano po? So, paghihiwalayin natin yung dalawang dissimilar metals. So, meron siyang nasa pagitan, meron siyang nasa gitna. Ano po? Okay? And then another one is to apply coatings po with cautions. So, we have to paint daw po the cathode and keep the coating in good repair on the anode. So, if they have the anode and the cathode po is parehas po siyang nakapaint, so hindi po siya mag-in contact. Yan. So, merong nakapagitan sa kanilang dalawa. That is why hindi po siya magkakaroon, mag-occur into a galvanic corrosions. And the last one po is avoid threaded joints for materials far apart in the galvanic series. It is same with this po. Yung number 1, So as select a materials as close together. And then this one, for the threaded joints po, so do not use the similar materials po that is part apart. Yan, in the galvanic series. Okay? Okay po? Hey, ano po? Okay. So, yung last time po, napanood ko na po sa inyo yung about po sa cathodic protections. Yan. So, dito naman po, wala po masyadong sinabi about po sa cathodic protections. So, this po is the video for, ano po, yung ating galvanic series, galvanic corrosions po.
We often assemble sophisticated things, but if wrong materials are used, then it causes accelerated corrosion and leads to the failure of the device. Hello, my name is Maida and I am a material scientist specialized in nanotechnology. And today's topic is galvanic corrosion. Corrosion, as you know, is the degradation of a material, and it is generally a very slow process, but it can accelerate if wrong materials are combined. As it was mentioned, galvanic corrosion is an accelerated form of corrosion, as it is an electrochemical process that occurs when two metals with different electrochemical activity are in an electrical contact with each other. In this process, the more passive metal drives the corrosion of the active metal, and at the same time, the passive metal remains unharmed. The process would keep going on until the active metal is completely gone or the electrical connection between the two broken. Take a look at this example where two dissimilar metals have been in contact with each other for a couple months. One part has clearly corroded, and at some point it no longer serves its purpose. Another example would be an aluminum frame that is connected with steel screws. Aluminum is much more active than steel, and thus the steel screws drive the corrosion of the aluminum frame. So if this construction would be closer to the sea, where we have lots of chloride in the air, then pretty soon the steel screws would start falling out, as the surrounding aluminum has corroded away. But let's take a closer look why galvanic corrosion occurs. When the two metals are in contact with each other and covered with an electrolyte, then the more active metal becomes anodic and the passive metal cathodic. As a result, different chemical reactions start taking place at the sample surface. At the cathode, water reacts with oxygen and hydroxide ions are generated. However, this reaction is only possible if it gets excess electrons from somewhere. And it does. These electrons come from the more active anodic metal. As the atoms are stripped from electrons, they become positively charged and highly reactive. Thus, they desperately want to find a partner to settle down. As a result, more stable compounds like oxides and hydroxides are created, and that's what we call rust. You might think that this process takes place only if the metals are immersed into the electrolyte, but this form of corrosion also occurs very well in open air. This is due to the fact that in microscopic scale, the materials are always covered with a thin layer of water. Of course, the process is faster closer to the sea, where we have plenty of moisture and chloride in the air. So, how to prevent galvanic corrosion? Well, First, you should take a look at the galvanic series and combine only those materials that have an activity difference less than 0.2 volts. You can find one of these tables easily from the internet when you type into the search engine galvanic series in seawater. If you cannot avoid using materials with different electrochemical activity, then somehow you need to prevent these processes from happening. For that, you can apply a coating on the metals to block the compounds that would take part in the reactions. Another option is to add an insulating layer between the two metals so that electrons cannot pass through it, and as a result, the reactions cannot take place. My name is Maida, and you just learned more about galvanic corrosion. Be sure to subscribe and leave your comments and questions below.
Okay. So that's all po for the galvanic corrosion. So this is the example po of what we call the galvanic corrosions wherein two dissimilar metals po touching po each other. So ibig sabihin in contact po siya. So the one which is more reactive, so yan po yung nagko-corrode. So as you can see po, so dito po nag-occur yung corrosions uh, at the left side. Yan. So because this material po is more reactive compared to this one. Okay? And then so yan, katulad po nito, yan. As you can see po, konti lang yung corrosions na nag-occur dito. But this one, so these materials po is siya yung mas malaki po ang corrosion na nag-occur. Okay? Yan. So, ito po kasi yung possible na mangyari if napabayaan natin yung corrosion. So, it can cause accident po because of the failure of the material. Okay? Uh, So, we have here po the anodic and the cathodic po anode. Cathodic po. Yan. So, this is what we call po yung ating galvanic series po. So, if the material po is exposed in a seawater, in sa ating electrolyte, so ito core po, it enhance, the occur po yung ating corrosions. Okay. Next po. So, the next type of corrosions po is what we call the crevice corrosions. Okay. So, when we say crevice po, so there is a difference, between the concentrations of ions. So, ions naman po yung atin pong involved po dito. Sabi dito, electrochemical corrosions may also occur as a consequence of concentration differences of ions or dissolved gases in the electrolyte solutions and between two regions of the same metal piece. Sabi dito, for such a concentration cell corrosion occurs in the local that has a lower concentrations. And then, a good example daw po ng electrochemical corrosions na to is yung tinatawag daw po natin na crevice. Po? Sa crevices, so nag-occur po siya sa mga crevices, yan, katulad ng ganito, yung mga pinagdadaanan po. And recesses are under deposit of dirt or corrosion products where the solutions become stagnant. So, ito po yung part kung saan nagiging stagnant na po yung ating mga solutions kapag napabayaan po natin, for example, sa isang tank, so pinabayaan natin na meron pa siyang kahit konting pong laman, so pwede po siyang mag-occur into a corrosions kasi natigil na siya doon. Okay? So corrosion, if preferentially occur at this position, is called crevice corrosions. And sabi dito, so, kasi nangyayari po siya sa mga crevice yan, ganyan. So, sabi dito, the crevice must be wide enough for the solutions to penetrate. So, para magdire-diretso po yung ating solutions, so para hindi siya maging stagnant in a one place, so dapat ang crevice is wide enough, yan, para mag-penetrate po yung atin pong mga solutions and narrow enough naman po for the stagnancy. Yan. Sabi dito, usually the width is several thousands of an inch. Yan. So this is the example po of what we call po the crevice corrosions. Yan. So nagkaroon siya dito, nagkaroon siya ng stagnancy dito sa part na to. Okay? So, as you can see po, ang laki na nung nabawas. Ano po? So isa lang siyang bilog na ganito po. Yan. But as you can see, because of the corrosion, so unti-unti po siyang nauubos. Yan. So what are the major factors that affects po yung ating crevice corrosions? So the first one po is it depends on the crevice type po. Yan. So sometimes yung metal to metal contact po or metal to non-metal. And then we have po this one po is the crevice geometry. Yan, wait lang. Okay. So we have here po the crevice geometry. So it depends po on the gap size. Yan, sa depth, surface roughness, and then also the materials na ginamit po natin and also the environment. And for example, the pH, temperature, yan, halide ions and oxygen. So, what are we going to do in order to prevent the crevice corrosion? So, we have here po 5 different methods in order to prevent po the crevice corrosion. So, the first one is to use daw po yung welded butt joints instead of riveted or bolted joints in a new equipments. So, mas magandang gamitin natin is welded butt. Ano po? So, because in riveted po, so pwede siyang mag-prone po into a crevice corrosions. So, baka mas maging stagnant lang po yung water natin doon. And then, sabi dito, eliminate crevices in existing lap joints by continuous welding and soldering. So, halos same lang po siya dito sa number 1. So, wherein we use po welded joints po. Yan. And then, sabi dito, avoid creating stagnant condition and ensure complete drainage in the vessel. Yan. So, for example nga po, dun sa ating mga tank, if there is solutions po na um, naiwan, so it possible po, so mag-occur siya into a crevice corrosions. And then, we can use also po non-absorbent gasket po, such as Teflon. Yan. Para wala na yung mga spaces po. Yan. And then, the last one is to use higher alloys or for increased resistance to crevice corrosion. So, use po this material. So, para hindi siya mag-occur into a crevice corrosions. So, dapat mataas po yung kanyang resistance to crevice corrosions po. Yan. So, gagamit tayo ng mga higher alloys. For example po is the ASTM G48. Yan. Yan. So, this is the video po for the crevice corrosions. So, this is the demonstrations how crevice corrosions occur po. Yan. Sabi dito, yan. The attack occurs because part of the metal surface is in shielded or restricted environment. So compared to the rest of the metal, so which is exposed to an electrolyte. Okay, so sabi po dito, Yan, sabi dito, the crevice now becomes a focal anode and the net charge in the crevice becomes positive. Yan. So this set up a potential difference and negative ions from the solution flow into the crevice to try and balance the charge. So these ions are usually chloride. Yan. Yan. So nakikita nyo po. So dyan po nagiging stagnant. So hindi na po nagiging balance yung atin pong charge. Yan. Because na parang tumitigil na dito, hindi siya nagpo-flow ng dire-diretso po. Yan, katulad nito. Natitira po dito, yan yung ating magnesium, chlorine, yan. Tapos hydrogen. So hindi na siya nagiging balance po. Okay? So that is why po, yan. Nag-o-occur po dito yung tinatawag natin na crevice corrosions po. So, nagiging stagnant na po yung solutions natin diyan. Sabi dito, the chloride ions encourage corrosions and also form complexes with the metal ions that react with water to produce acid. Yan. So, katulad ng sinabi natin, so acid po is one of the electrolyte. So, nakaka-enhance po yon. It can enhance po or increase the corrosion rate of the materials, yung ating acid. Yan. Sabi dito, the acid combined with chloride ions encourages further attack on the metal. Yan. So this is known as autocatalytic process. Yan. Yan. So yan po yung example po ng tinatawag po natin na crevice corrosions po. Yan. And then the next one po is what we call the pitting. Yan. So pitting po is another form po of much localized corrosion attack in which small pits or holes form. Yan. So ito naman po yung may mga nagkakaroon po siya ng butas. Okay? Sabi dito, they ordinarily penetrate from the top of the horizontal surface downward in a nearly vertical directions. So ang atake po niya is from the surface and then pababa po siya ng pababa. Ano po? Sabi dito, it is an extremely insidious type of corrosions, often going undetected and with the very little material loss until failure occurs. So ito yung isa po sa mga delikadong type of corrosions because hindi natin masyadong halata kasi konti lang siya sa surface but sa loob po is malaki na po yung naging corrosions po niya. And sabi dito, the mechanism for pitting is probably the same as for the crevice corrosions. So in that oxidation occurred within the pit itself, so with complementary reductions of the surface, so it is supposed that gravity causes the pits to grow downward and the solution at the pit tip becoming more concentrated and denser as the pit grow progresses. So, because of the gravity po, kaya po ang kanyang pag-grow of nung corrosions natin is pababa siya. Okay? So, this is the example po of yung ating mga pitting corrosion. Sometimes, yan, ito yung common po. So, maliit lang po siya sa taas, pero hindi natin alam, siya pala ay pababa. Yan. So, this one is the shallow wide. Then, this one po is elliptical. And then, ito naman po yung tinatawag natin na vertical grain attack. And ito po yung mga delikado po na type of pit corrosions, yung ating sideway pit. So, just like po yung nakikita natin. So, dito, konti lang siya, konti lang butas. But as you can see po, dun sa loob, so paubos na siya. Lalong-lalo na po, this type of corrosions po is the underpitting. Okay? And then, we have here po, yan. Horizontal naman po, grain attack. Yan. So, medyo delikado po yung mga sideway natin. Yan. So, ano daw po yung cause ng pitting corrosion? So, we have po yung lack of homogeneity in the metal surface. So, hindi po siya homogeneous. And kalimitan po ay rough po yung sa ibabaw po niya. Kapag rough kasi yon, sabi ito, high roughness or presence of superficial scale. So, kapag rough po ko yung ating material, so, kapag hindi siya pantay-pantay, so may tendency po na doon pumunta yung ating mga electrolytes or kaya yung mga water natin nako-contain po doon. So, kaya po nag-occur po into corrosions. Ano po? And then, localized loss of liabilities. And then, sabi dito, ferrous or non-metallic surface contaminations. Yan, kapag may contaminations po in the surface. And also po, yung ating mga mechanical disruptions or antioxidants coating chemistry. Yan. So, ito po yung mga nagiging cause po kung bakit nag-occur po yung ating pitting corrosions. So, paano daw po natin mapiprevent ang pitting corrosions? So, the first one is to select po a proper material. So, kailangan po is, since alam po natin yung ating environment, so alam natin dapat ano yung material na isa-select. Dapat ba yung material is mataas yung corrosion resistance? Okay? So, yung una natin gagawin is to properly select po yung ating materials na gagamitin para hindi siya mag-occur yan, into a corrosion. Ang sunod naman po, we have to control the pH, the chloride concentration, and the temperature ng mga solutions po natin na, yan, para, na, halimbawa, may expose po yung ating material sa mga ganito na solution. So, kailangan, we have to control it po, yung mga values po nito. And then, ang isa pong paraan para maiwasan natin yung pitting corrosions is the cathodic protections o yung tinatawag po natin na sacrificial anodes. And the last one po is using higher alloys. Yan. So, same with the crevice corrosion. So, we use higher alloys po in order to increase the resistance to pitting corrosions. And then, this one po is the video for the pitting corrosions.
Another session of electrochemical corrosion, that is pitting corrosion or localized corrosion. Before that, subscribe the channel. At the end of the session, you'll be able to define what is pitting corrosion, you'll be able to enumerate the reasons for pitting corrosion, you'll be able to explain the mechanism of pitting corrosion, and you'll be able to suggest the preventive measures of pitting corrosion. At this point, I would like to tell you something, that is, at the end of the session, we'll compare galvanic corrosion, differential aeration corrosion, and pitting corrosion. That is because all the three has a relationship, and if a situation is given, you need to identify what type of corrosion it is. When a galvanic corrosion becomes a pitting corrosion, and when differential aeration corrosion becomes a pitting corrosion. Let us understand what is pitting corrosion. It is a localized attack in the metal resulting in the formation of a pit, hole, or a cavity. This type of corrosion is confined to a small point or a very small area. Let us look into the detailed reason for pitting corrosion. When the anodic area is small and cathodic area is large, it leads to drastic corrosion in the anode to form a pit or a hole. We'll see why this happens. We all know that at cathode, reduction occurs by taking up the electrons. When the cathode area is very large, the demand for the electrons is also too high. This cannot be satisfied by the small anodic area. So the anode undergoes drastic corrosion in order to satisfy the large demand of the large cathodic area. This is why when the anode area is very small, drastic corrosion occurs and it forms a pit to undergo pitting corrosion. Let us see in detail all the causes of pitting corrosion. As we have already said, when the anodic area is small and cathodic area is large, pitting corrosion occurs. Why does anodic area become small? That is when there is a damage or a crack over the protective film, or there is a scratch or a cuttage, if there is a local strain on the metal, if there is ununiform stress over the metal, if there are any defects on the metal, that defective area becomes the anode. If the metal is slided under load, there can be a scratch or a damage to the protective film of the metal. There can also be chemical attack, that is, in the environment, if
Recording in progress.
corrosive
For a regular
environment is
semester,
present, can damage
some
protective
opening
oxide
of classes
layer.
by
This also
completing
can
the cancellation
become
form
the reason
provided
for
with the
pitting
registrar's
corrosion.
office. So we do have our procedures in
Or
cancellation of
non-uniform
enrollment
finish
and the
of the plates
substitution
can
of
also lead
courses
to
or
pitting
provision
corrosion.
for petitioning
Turbulent flow
courses.
of fluid over the metal is also another reason for pitting corrosion. This we have already discussed this example in galvanic corrosion. Anyway, we'll just look into it again. That is, when a damaged tin-coated mild steel container is left out and drained, the damaged portion acts as the anode because the fresh mild steel is exposed at that point, and all throughout the container the tin is coated. So the damage is very small, and the anodic area is very small, and the cathodic area is very large. So we have the situation of pitting corrosion. At the anode, corrosion occurs in order to satisfy the high demand of electrons by the large cathodic area, and a pit is formed at the anode. The same effect is going to happen if there is a damage in the protective metal oxide layer. We all know that all the metals form a metal oxide layer over it. Even if the layer is protective in nature, although the corrosion does not occur in such protective metal oxide layer, if there is a damage, the damaged portion acts as an anode, and if the damage is very small, the anodic area is small and the cathodic area is large, and it leads to pitting corrosion. This is another example of pitting corrosion, which we have already discussed in our previous session of differential aeration corrosion. That is, this occurs due to the poor maintenance. That is, if the vehicle or the component or the machines are not maintained well, there can be dust accumulation or water droplets over the metal area. So, beneath the water droplet, the aeration condition is very poor, that is, it's poorly oxygenated, and all the other area is well oxygenated. So it leads to differential aeration corrosion. But in this case, since the anodic area is very small, because beneath the dust particle or a water droplet is going to act as the anode. The anodic area is small and the cathodic area is too large. It leads to also pitting corrosion. That is, at the anode, the in case the metal is iron gets oxidized to liberate electrons, and as the metal is a good conductor of electrons, these electrons flow through the metal, and when it meets the water droplet, the oxygen and water takes up the electrons to form hydroxide ions. And these hydroxide ions and Fe2 plus ions diffuse towards each other to form the corrosive product, that is rust, in between the anodic area and the cathodic area. And the anode undergoes drastic corrosion because the anodic area is small and the cathodic area is large. And it leads to the formation of pits. So this case becomes a pitting corrosion. Let us look into the mechanism which we have already discussed in the previous example. At anode, iron gets oxidized to liberate electrons. And at cathode, it depends on the medium. If it is acidic medium, that is hydrogen evolution type, the electrons released in anode are taken up by the H plus ions present in the acid to form hydrogen. And if it is alkaline or neutral medium, which is oxygen absorption type, the oxygen and water takes up the electrons to form hydroxide ions, which combines with the Fe2 plus ions present in the anode to form ferrous hydroxide. In the presence of excess air, this ferric hydroxide gets further oxidized to form ferric hydroxide. In case there is no air in that environment, it forms a black rust or anhydrous magnetite. This ferric hydroxide is nothing but yellow rust, which is very common. Let us see how to prevent this type of corrosion. We said that anodic area is small and if cathodic area is large, it leads to pitting corrosion. So, in our design, we should see that the anodic area is larger than the cathodic area. And if possible, we all know the cathodic protection is a very good method of protecting the metals, but it's better to avoid because in case there's a damage in the cathodic film, that is, as we have seen, the damage of a zinc coated mild steel container. That damaged portion acts as a small anodic area and leads to pitting corrosion, which is very dangerous because it forms the hole and it totally spoils the metal. And regular maintenance of the components or machine or vehicles so that dust accumulation or moisture is minimized. And uniform and sufficient aeration should be present so that in case there is any damage in the oxide layer, there should be a possibility for the oxide layer to be regenerated. This is possible when there is good aeration around the component or the vehicle or whatever is the situation. And we should also control the environment. We should see that in our surrounding area, the temperature is normal and the pH is also normal. It's not acidic or alkaline in nature. And there is no chloride concentration or corrosive medium concentration in the environment. Now, as I said in the beginning of the session, that we discussed the differential aeration corrosion, galvanic corrosion, and pitting corrosion. We should understand that all the types of galvanic corrosion does not lead to formation of pit. Similarly, all the differential aeration corrosion will also not lead to formation of a pit. A typical case, whenever a situation is given to us, we should see where is the anode that we have discussed in many sessions of electrochemical corrosion, that is only anode undergoes corrosion. The first point is to identify the anode and then identify the cathodic area. If the anodic area is small and the cathodic area is large, only then it will lead to pitting corrosion. Otherwise, a galvanic corrosion will be present only if two dissimilar metals are in contact in the presence of the corrosive medium, which we have detailedly seen in our previous session of galvanic corrosion. Similarly, differential aeration corrosion occurs only if there is difference in the environment, aeration condition, that is, when a part of a metal is exposed to a different aeration condition compared to the other part of the same metal, that is, the poorly oxygenated area acts as the anode and undergoes corrosion. But in any case, if the anodic area is small and cathodic area is large, it leads to pitting corrosion. I think you're very clear with pitting corrosion, galvanic corrosion, and differential aeration corrosion. To be in detail, watch the video on differential aeration corrosion and also galvanic corrosion. Let us meet again with another session of electrochemical corrosion. Thank you. Until then, bye bye. Don't forget to subscribe the channel. Bye.
Okay, so some of the informations po na discuss po. So in this video po is na-discuss na natin siya kanina. Just like po yung in terms of the area of the anodic and the cathodic po. Ano po. Okay. So the next po is next type of corrosions po is what we called yan, intergranular corrosions. Yan. So, as sabi dito, as the name suggests, yan, intergranular, yan, corrosion occurs preferentially along the grain boundaries, yan, of some alloys and in specific environments. So, sa grain boundaries po siya nangyayari. Yan. So, para siyang kumakalat, para siyang cancer na, yan, kumakalat po siya into a grain boundaries. Ano po? Sabi dito, the net results is that a microscopic specimen disintegrates along its grain boundaries. Yan. So this type of corrosion is especially prevalent yan, in some stainless steel. So nangyayari yung tinatawag natin, it occurs po yung ating intergranular corrosions if we are heated. If we heated po, for example, a stainless steel between 500 degrees Celsius up to 800 degrees Celsius. So this is one of the example po where intergranular corrosion occurs. So because of the exposing to a high temperature, so the corrosions occur po in the grain boundaries. Yan. So, sa grain boundaries po ng ating material. Yan. And then, sabi dito, when heated to a temperature between 500 and 800 degrees Celsius, for sufficient long time period, yan. So, these alloys become sensitized to intergranular attack. Yan. Mataas na temperature and then matagal, so it can cause po intergranular corrosions. Okay? And then, sabi dito, it is believed that this heat treatment permits the formation of small precipitate particles of chromium carbides. Yan. So, by reactions between the chromium and the carbon in the stainless steel. So, ganun po yung nangyayari. Nagpo-form na daw po siya ng chromium carbide dun sa ating mga boundaries. So, ganito po yung nangyayari yan. So, ito po ay pitting ha. Tapos ito naman po, ito yung tinatawag natin na intergranular corrosions. Wherein, yan. So, nagpo-form po yung ating chromium carbide po. Nagkakaroon tayo ng precipitate particles. Yan. So, this is the grain boundary natin. And then, dito po nag-o-occur yung ating tinatawag na intergranular corrosions. So, sa grain boundary po siya. So, ito po isa din po sa mga delikado na types po ng corrosions. Kasi hindi natin masyadong napapansin po. Yan. Sabi dito, this is the methods in order to prevent or to protect po yung atin po mga stainless steel in intergranular corrosions. Yan. So, the first one is to, sabi dito, subjecting the synthesized materials to a high temperature heat treatment in which all the chromium carbide particles are redissolved. Yan. So, magkakaroon po tayo ng tinatawag na heat treatment po. Yan. So, heat treatment natin siya para hindi po or para ma-dissolve yung na-form po na carbon, yan, chromium carbide. Yan. So, during po the process, for example, heating the stainless steel po in 500 to 800 degrees Celsius can form chromium carbide particles. Ano po? And in order to dissolve po these particles, so we need a heat treatment. So, we use po heat treatment po. And then, number 2 is to lower daw po the carbon content. Yan, below 0.03% by weight ng carbon. Yan. So that yung ating carbide formations daw po is minimal. Yan. So, para hindi ganon kataas yung percent kung saan mag-o-occur yung ating corrosions. So, mas maganda bawasan natin yung chromium para hindi masyadong magkaroon po ng mag-form po yung chromium carbide po particles. Okay? And then, number 3 naman po is alloying the stainless steel with another metal naman po. So, mas maganda, i-enhance natin yung property ng stainless steel para kapag siya ay hinit natin into high temperature po, so hindi siya magpo-form into a chromium carbide po particles. Sabi dito, alloying the stainless steel with another metal such as niobium or titanium, so which has a greater tendency yan, to form carbides than does chromium, so that the CR remains in solid solutions. So, mas maganda daw po na maglagay po tayo ng niobium or titanium po. Yan. Kasi, ito po yung possible na magkaroon po ng carbide. So, hindi yung chromium. Kapag naglagay na tayo ng another alloying elements, so, ang mapo-form na po na carbides is yung niobium or the titanium, hindi na po si chromium. Yan. And then another type po of corrosions is what we call po selective leaching. Yan. Selective leaching po is kapag meron po tayong ni-remove na isa pong material. Yan. Sabi dito, selective leaching is found in a solid solution alloys and occurs when one element or constituent is preferentially remove as a consequences of the corrosion processes. Yan. So for example po, yan. Sabi dito, we have the most common example po is the dezincifications of the brass. Yan. So we have po the brass and we need to remove po the zinc. Yan. Kapag ni-remove natin yung zinc, dyan po nagkakaroon ng what we call selective leaching. Yan. Sabi dito, the most common example is the dezincifications of brass in which zinc is selectively leached from a copper zinc brass alloy. So paghihiwalayin na natin yung copper and zinc. Ano po? So i-remove natin yung zinc from the brass and dyan po nangyayari yung what we call po the selective leaching. Okay? Sabi dito, the mechanical properties of the alloy are significantly impaired because only the porous mass of copper remains in a region that has been dezincified. So, in addition, the material changes from yellow to a red or copper color. Yan. So, selective leachings may also occur with other alloy system in which aluminum, iron, cobalt, chromium, and other elements are vulnerable to preferential removal. Yan. So, selective leaching is nangyayari po. This type of corrosion is nangyayari kapag may ni-remove po tayo na material. So, nagbabago na kasi yung kanyang properties. Ano po? So, sa copper and zinc po, yan. So, naiiba. Nag-iiba po yung properties natin kapag nagkaroon po tayo ng removal po ng other elements. Okay? So, how to prevent daw po, yan, yung ating dealloying. So, dealloying, selective leaching, or graphitic corrosions can be prevented through the following methods. So, isa lang po ito, dealloying, selective leaching, at graphitic corrosions. So, same lang po siya. Isa lang po yan. So, ito po yung mga paraan in order to prevent po na mag-occur siya into a corrosions because of the selective leaching. So, the first one is to select metals or alloys that are more resistant to the alloying. Ano po? So, for example daw po, sa halip na ang gamitan daw po natin ng dezincifications is yung alpha brass, so ang gamitin natin is the inhibited brass kasi siya ay more resistant to dezincifications. Yan. Ang isa naman, ang isa pa po is yung gray cast iron. So, sabi for graphitic corrosions naman siya. So, mas gamitin po natin yung ductile iron compared to the gray cast iron. Kapag magkakaroon po tayo ng, yan, sabi dito, graphitic corrosions. And then, sabi dito, control the environment to minimize the selective leaching. And the last one po is to use sacrificial anode cathodic protection or impressed current cathodic protections. So, these two methods po, yan, ito po yung naipaliwanag na po sa inyo dun sa mga nauna po natin na video. Yung discussions po on how to prevent yung ating different types of corrosions. Kailan nag-o-occur, paano nag-o-occur yung sacrificial anode, and then paano din nag-o-occur yung ating tinatawag na impressed current cathodic protections. And then, another type of corrosions naman po is yung tinatawag natin na erosion corrosions. Yan. Erosion corrosions naman po. Yan. Ito po ay kalimitan nangyayari sa mga pipes po natin. Ano po? Kung saan mas nagiging, may part kasi doon na mas mataas po yung pressure. Yan. Because of the high pressure po. Yan. Unti-unti pong nauubos yung ating material doon sa loob. Ano po? So, erosion corrosion arises from the combined actions of chemical attack and mechanical abrasions or wear as a consequence po of the fluid motions. Yan. So, di ba sa mga pipe natin, nagpo-flow yung atin pong mga water, yung mga solutions. But pagdating po dun sa mga part na kung saan merong bend, tapos may elbow tayo, so nagkakaroon ng change in terms of the pipe diameter. So, naiiba yung flow ng fluid natin. So, may part na kung saan siya ay naging mabilis, may part naman po na mabagal. And kapag mas mataas po yung pressure, so nagkakaroon po siya ng mga wear, abrasions. Yan. So doon po nangyayari yung tinatawag natin na erosion, corrosions. So minsan, sabi dito, erosion corrosion is commonly found in piping, especially at bends, elbows, and abrupt changes in pipe diameter and positions where the fluid changes directions or flow suddenly becomes turbulent. Yan. So it depends po on the flow, changes in terms of the diameter, and sa mga part nga po na merong bend and elbow. Yan. So ito daw po, kalimitan daw pong nangyayari ito sa mga propeller, turbine blades, sa mga valves, sa mga pumps, is what we call po yung ating erosion corrosions. So, paano daw po natin mapiprevent ang erosion corrosion? So, one of the methods na kailangan natin prevent the erosion corrosions is the change the design. So, we need to change the designs in order to eliminate daw po yung fluid turbulence and impingement effect. Yan. Para hindi minsan nabibigla. Yan. Parang tuloy-tuloy lang po yung flow natin. Yan. So, we need to change po the design. If nakita natin na erosion corrosion occur for that specific design, so we need to change the design po. Yan. Sabi dito, other materials may also be used that inherently resist erosions. Yan, yung mas matitibay po na material. So, furthermore, removal of particulates and bubbles from the solution lessen its ability to erode. Yan. So, isa pa po. Yan. So, tatanggalin daw po natin yung mga bubbles and particulates sa ating solutions para hindi magkaroon siya ng erosions din po. So, this is the example po of the where erosion corrosions po is nag-o-occur. So, this one po. So, ito po yung ating pipe bend. So, dito sa mga ganitong part, so, dyan po nangyayari, yan, yung atin pong wear, ano po, yan. Sabi dito, high impact zone. Yan. So, dito sa part na to, mas malaki po yung nagiging impact niya. And then, this one po is, yan, the recirculation kung naman. So, nag-iiba ulit yung flow niya kasi, yan, papunta na tayo dito. And din sa part na to, so, nagkaroon naman po ng change in terms of the diameter. So, nagkaroon, possible din po dito yung shearing din sa ating, material. So, dyan po nangyayari yung ating erosions, corrosions. So, pag corrosion sa hindi lang, ibig sabihin, nangangalawang siya. So, basta na-remove din po niya or na-oxidize or natatanggal po yung other part ng ating material. So, katulad nito, so nababawasan siya ng nababawasan because of the wear. So, yun din po is a form of the corrosions. So, kita niyo po ito sa part na to. So, nagkakaroon siya ng wear po. Okay. And then, ang next po natin, yan, malapit na tayo matapos. So, the next po is what we call po the stress corrosions naman po.
So, stress corrosion sa course po, yan. So, ang stress corrosions po is sometimes called din po as stress corrosion cracking. Yan. So, it is a combination po of the combined action daw po of the applied tensile stress and the corrosive environment. Yan. So, because of the stress po, pwede din pong mag-corrode yung ating material. Because of the tensile stress and yung ating environment, so pwede pong mag-corrode yung ating materials. Ang tawag po dito is what we call po, and this type of corrosions po is what we call stress corrosions. Sabi dito, in fact, some materials that are virtually inert in a particular corrosive medium become susceptible to this form of corrosions when the stress is applied. Yan. So, kahit ang materials natin is inert, ano pa? So, pwede po siyang maging ma-form po yung ating corrosions kapag nag-apply daw po tayo ng stress dun sa ating material. Ano po? Sabi dito, stress corrosions is nangyayari kapag yan, small cracks form and then propagate in the directions perpendicular to the stress. Yan. So with the results that failure may eventually occur. Yan. Failure behavior is characteristics of that for a brittle materials even though the metal is intrinsically ductile. Yan. So kahit ductile po yung ating materials, may possibility po na nagbabago po yung kanyang property. So siya ay nagiging brittle. So it depends on the environment. Yan. Sabi dito, furthermore, cracks may form at a relatively low stress level and significantly below the tensile strength. Yan. So, most alloy are susceptible to stress corrosion in specific environment, especially at moderate stress level. Yan. So, because of the stress po, pwede din mag-occur ang corrosions po. Corrosions, stress po, and then the environment. Halimbawa, yung ating environment po may high temperature, tapos ma-moist. Yan. So, pwede po siyang mag-occur into a corrosions. Yan. So, this is the example po ng ating mga nangyayari kapag siya ay in a form of stress corrosion. So, nagkakaroon po tayo ng crack. Yan. So, nagka-crack po yung ating material. Okay? And, so, paano daw po natin mape-prevent yung stress corrosions? So, sabi dito, the best measure to take to reduce or completely eliminate stress corrosion is to lower the magnitude of the stress. So, ganun lang siya kadali. Kailangan lang natin ibaba yung stress natin. Kasi kapag siya ay medyo mataas na po yung stresses natin and corrosive po yung environment, so magpo-form talaga siya into a stress corrosions. Pero kung ilo-lower daw po natin yung magnitude ng stress, so ma-eliminate po natin yung stress corrosions po. Sabi dito, this may be accomplished by reducing the external load or increasing the cross-sectional area perpendicular to the applied stresses. So meron tayong two-way. Pwedeng i-reduce natin yung external load or palalakihin po natin yung ating material. Ano pa? Then, furthermore, an appropriate heat treatment may be used to anneal out any residual thermal stresses. If meron naman pong, halimbawa, thermal stresses po yung ating material, so pwede din po ito, apply load or thermal load po, yung thermal stresses po ng ating material. So, pwede daw po natin na matanggal yung thermal stress using po the heat treatment. So, pwede natin i-heat treatment yung ating materials in order to remove po the stresses po na nandun sa kanya. Thermal stresses. Okay. And then, the last one po is what we call po the hydrogen embrittlement. So, meaning po, nagiging brittle po yung ating material. Sabi dito, some metal alloys, especially some steel, experience a significant reductions in ductility and tensile strength when atomic hydrogen penetrates into the material. Yan. So kapag may hydrogen tayo and then nag-penetrate into the material, so pwede po yung ating ductile material is maging brittle. So binabawasan niya po yung pagiging ductile ng isang material kapag meron po tayong hydrogen na nag-penetrate dun sa ating material. Sabi dito, the mechanism starts with the lone hydrogen atoms diffusing through the metal. Yan. So at high temperature, the elevated solubility of hydrogens allows hydrogen to diffuse into the metal. So kapag daw po mataas yung temperature natin, so pwede pong mag-diffuse yung hydrogen sa ating metal. Ano po? Yan. So sabi dito, when these hydrogen atoms recombine in minuscule voids of the metal matrix to form hydrogen molecules, so they create pressure daw po dun sa loob. So kapag meron tayong void, yung mga butas-butas po, so dun po papasok yung ating hydrogen molecules and nagkikreate daw po yun ng pressure inside the cavity they are in. So kapag may cavity, kapag may butas, ano po, so dun papasok po yung hydrogen at may ma-form po dun na pressure. Yan, sabi dito, this pressure can increase the level where the metal has reduced ductility and the tensile strength up to the point where it cracks open. So high strength and low alloy steel, nickel, and titanium alloys are most susceptible daw po dito sa type ng corrosions na to. Okay? So, kapag may nag-penetrate po yung hydrogen tapos pumunta sa void natin, sa mga vacancy po natin, so, dun po nag-o-occur yung tinatawag natin na hydrogen embrittlement. Okay. So, sabi dito, tensile stresses, susceptible material, and the presence of hydrogens are necessary to cause hydrogen embrittlement. So, ito po yung magkakasama. Stress, tapos susceptible materials, and hydrogen. So, yan po yung nagkakos na tinatawag natin na hydrogen embrittlement. Yan. Residual stresses or extremely applied loads resulting in stresses significantly below yield stresses can cause cracking. Thus, catastrophic failure can occur without significant deformation and obvious deteriorations of the component. So, kapag nagsama-sama na stress, tapos may nag-penetrate po na hydrogen, so it can cause failure po din sa ating materials. At yun po yung ating iniiwasan. So, iniiwasan natin na mangyari din sa ating material po. So, ito daw po yung mga way natin in order to prevent the hydrogen embrittlement. Yeah. So, we need to control daw po the stress level and the hardness of the material. And then, syempre, para hindi po siya mag-occur into a hydrogen embrittlement, so we have to avoid the hydrogen source. And we can remove po the hydrogen into materials by using po heat treatments na tinatawag po natin siya na baking. Yan. Okay? Yan. So, last na po ito. So, ito po yung video natin for the hydrogen embrittlement.
Have you ever experienced a broken screw in one of your products? Unexpected failures of fasteners cause damages and high costs. One of the reasons could be hydrogen embrittlement. Hydrogen embrittlement, also known as hydrogen attack, is a process whereby metal becomes brittle or fractures due to the exposure and diffusion of hydrogen through the metal. Hydrogen embrittlement is a serious matter that mechanically degrades a range of different structural materials. Hydrogen embrittlement can be divided into two types. Environmental hydrogen embrittlement, where failure is due to the supply of hydrogen from the environment, normally through corrosion. Internal hydrogen embrittlement, where failure is due to the supply of hydrogen during manufacturing. For example, the cleaning and plating processes. Hydrogen embrittlement of fasteners is typically associated with carbon and alloy steels, but also other metals and alloys can be affected. For the fastener, the hardness is an essential parameter. The failure of a fastener caused by hydrogen embrittlement is a delayed and brittle fracture and occurs only after installation for fasteners is exposed to tensile stresses. Selecting an appropriate surface treatment that does not generate hydrogen during the plating process avoids the internal type. For more information, please download your full white paper for free on www.bassard.com. galvanic.com.
100 lang pala, kala ko naman ilang milyon. Kalimutan ko lang wallet sa bahay. Okay. So, yun po yung ating mga different types po ng corrosion. So, hindi lang po siya, pag sinabi natin corrosions is about rusting yung ano po. So, meron tayong iba-ibang type. Ano, hindi lang po siya, ano po, rusting. Yung kapag nangalawang. So, madami po. So, there, example po niya ay yung mga sa erosions. Ano po, and then, yung sa about sa stress, yan. Stress can cause din po ng corrosions. Tapos yung pag-iiba-iba ng flow ng ating material, ng ating pong liquid, pwede siyang mag-cause din po ng corrosions. And then the heat, yan. Isa po sa mga reason why corrosion occur po is because of the heat and yung atin pong tinatawag na electrolytes. Yan, exposing po din sa mga electrolytes. Yan. So, that's all po yung ating corrosion prevention and control. So, meron po ba kayong tanong? Yan. So, next meeting, dapat po kasi yun ay presentation na po. So, tatanungin ko muna ang group 1, kaya niya na ba next meeting na makakapag-present po? Hello, group 1. If ever po na hindi, so, tatry natin if we can perform po laboratory experiment sa ating time po para hindi siya masayang. Ano po? Group 1. Group 1 and group 2 po. Pwede na ba kayo mag-present next meeting po? Hello? Hello? Ba't mo hindi ko kayo makausap? Pwede kayo magsalita. Hindi naman ako magagalit sa inyo.
Ma'am, pwede
Yes
pong
po.
ano na lang po sa GC. Mag-chat na lang po if carry po. Pero baka mga within this day din po
Sige.
makapagsabi kung kakayanin po.
Sige po. So, madali lang naman po ang metals and ceramics. So, at least, ano po, 2 groups. Kasi 3 hours po tayo doon. So, at least 2 groups po yung makapag-present po ng mga different types of materials po. Okay? And, meron po bang tanong? If ever po na hindi makakapag-present po yung 1 and 2, pwede ba kayong pumasok po ng face-to-face for our laboratory experiment? Papalabas na lang po natin yung equipments po dun sa lab 1 so that we can use po yung ano po, Charpy impact test. Yan. Kung
Ma'am, siguro
Yes
po
po.
ay siguro po ay pipilitin na lang po naming mag-present po kasi po yung iba po namin kasing ka-group, taga Mindoro po ay nag-uwi na po
Okay.
gawa ng face-to-face. Yung online week nga po,
Okay
tapos
po.
mag-uundas. Thank you po.
Okay po. Sige po. Sige po. So, ganun na lang po. Magpe-present na lang po next meeting. Ano po? Okay. Sige. If ever naman po may kulang po din sa inyong presentation, so I can discuss naman po yung mga kulang pa. Okay? Okay. So, is there any questions po? Yan. So, ano nga yung different types natin ng corrosions? Can you give me at least one po? One type of corrosions? So, the first one is ano po ang una? Uy, anyone po. Uy, hindi pwedeng hindi kayo sasagot. Yes, Mr. Di Mayuga.
Uniform attack po, ma'am.
So, we have the uniform attack. Another po? Yes po, Mr. Dave. So, galvanic corrosion. Sunod? Anyone?
Fitting
Yes po.
po, ma'am.
Fitting corrosions. Another po. Yes po. Kenneth.
Stress corrosion po, ma'am.
Yan, stress corrosions. Another pa po. Okay, magtatawag na lang ako. Eloisa. Ineng. Yes po. Yes po, Mr. Reginald.
Hydrogen embrittleness po.
Embrittlement. Hydrogen embrittlement po. Okay, thank you. Another po. Yes po, Trisha.
Pitting corrosion po.
Parang nasabi na po ang pitting corrosions. Meron pa ba tayo nalagdangan? Yes po.
Stress.
Yes, stress corrosions. Yes po, Mr. Robert.
Intergranular corrosion po.
Intergranular corrosions. Okay. Meron pa ba tayong naiwanan? Yes po.
Crevice corrosion po.
Yan. So, meron tayong crevice corrosions po. Yan. So, yan po yung mga different types of corrosion. So, hindi lang siya rusting or yung tinatawag natin na uniform attack. So, marami pa po tayong type of corrosions. So, ang mga delikado po dyan is the pitting, the intergranular po corrosions. And ito po yung gamit ng ating non-destructive testing is yung sa mga pipe natin because of the corrosions po. Yan. So, possible. So, because of the corrosion, so possible that the thickness of the pipe po will reduce. Okay? So, mababawasan yon, nababawasan. So, in order to determine if the materials occur po ng corrosion, so we can use po ultrasonic testing. Okay? Yung non-destructive testing. Yan. So, medyo, nag-check po ako ng inyong finals, but I am so disappointed po dun sa mga sagot niyo po. Hindi ko alam kung saan part ba kayo nahirapan. Kasi, ang baba talaga ng score. Pero section 2 pa lang naman po yung na-checkan ko. As in, ang bababa po ng score. Parang nadi-disappoint po ako. Parang hindi ko siya tinuro. Pero halos lahat naman po ng nandun ay diniscuss ko po. Ano po? Meron ba akong part na hindi na ituro? Yung paggagawa ng stress strain diagram. Sinabi ko din po yun sa inyo. Pinagawa ko pa yun sa Excel. Ano po? Tapos yung isa pa pong problem, you have to identify lang if it is, yan, simple cubic, BCC, or FCC. Yan. Madali lang naman yun. Titingnan lang natin if same po yung density using po. For example, i-assume muna natin siya if siya ay BCC. Yan. Kapag BCC, ilan ang number ng atoms? And then, ano din ang kanyang relationship between A and R? Ano po? So, ganun lang naman yung gagawin dun sa problem number 1. And then, yung kalimitan po, yung iba naman po is essay. Essay na po. At ang pinakamadali po is identifications. Hindi ko maintindihan bakit kakunti po ang nakakasagot ng identifications. Hindi naman familiar naman po yung mga inilagay ko po doon na mga definitions po. Yan, medyo nakakalungkot po. Yan. So, sana makikinig na po. Ano po? Yan. So, meron pa po ba kayong tanong? May tanong po kayo? Wala na po ba? If wala na pong question, so makiki-open po ako ng camera for the attendance po. So makikisabi po ako sa mga hindi po umattend na makikibasa po ako nung hindi kasi ako makapag-record po ng meeting. Tatry ko na lang po if meron po akong na-save na na meeting po dati pa po kasi dati nakakapag-save pa po, nakakapag-record pa po. Ngayon kasi hindi na. Ano po? Yan. So makikisabi po ako na kindly basahin yung atin pong module. Yan. So makikisuyo po ako sa iba. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yung iba, patas-tas naman ako, Joshua. Yung iba po, hindi ko kita ang mukha. Makikitaas naman po ako. Ron. Joshua, i-ano mo nga ng kaunti. Okay, so 1. Okay, ulit po. 1, 2, 3. Yan. Okay, so if you don't have any questions po, you can leave po in this Gmeet. So, take care everyone.
Thank you po, ma'am.
Thank you po.
Po, ma'am.
Thank you.